Hey everyone, how are we doing? So we got some testing to do today. Let me check one thing. Yeah, let's do that, that's fine. So we're going to do some testing today. So everybody, the standard for typical streaming, if you're going to use your DSLR, in my case, it's not a DSLR, but it's a GH4. I'm using a GH4 for streaming. And we got a few comments here first. Let's just do those. Good morning, Richard, from Christopher. Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody as well. So we have a bunch of new messages. We got a lot of chat here going. So the problem with the CamLink, which I have right here, the problem with the CamLink is you can't get them. That's the problem, is they're not available. You can't get them. I'm trying to hold that up so you can see it. That's the problem. So since you can't get them, everybody's looking for alternative USB, or HDMI to USB. They call them capture cards, right? Capture cards. So I have one. Obviously, it's right there. I have another one. I have another brand of a capture card that I have. Paul says, thanks for the great shows. Thank you, Paul, for tuning in. So let me just check. I have to check one thing real quick. I want to make sure I'm in all the right places here. I told people I'd be streaming. I want to make sure I'm in all the right places. Make sure I'm streaming in all the right places. So just bear with you 1 minute. Let me just see. Yes, I'm there. Ecam. I use Ecam, so I want to make sure. That I can get operation mode. I want to make sure that I'm streaming on all the Ecam groups right now. So I'm just going to check Ecam there. Just want to double check, make sure I got them all. If I don't, I want to post them there. And I see I'm not in this one, I don't think. Let me just do one thing real quick. One post. I want to do this one post real quick. Let me just see. Cam Network. Just take me 1 minute. And then we're going to talk about comparing these capture cards, because you can't get the one, right? You can't get the Elgato 4K right now. It's just, if it's available, you have to, it costs a lot of money. There we go. So let me get this right here, get this link. It costs a lot of money. So I got this cheaper one, and I'm going to see if it's going to be working. Let me just post this here real quick so people can tune in. Post. There we go. So now we should be everywhere we're supposed to be. I am now streaming on the cheaper one. Right now, I'm streaming on the cheap one. When I say cheap, I mean it's $44 and it's available. Let me pull it up here. It's available on Amazon. That's what I mean. Let me just pull it up. Pulling up my... So this is what I'm streaming on right now. I'm going to pull it up here for you so you can see it. View. This is the one that I'm streaming on right now. It's $43.88, and it's available on Amazon. It's very similar to the 4K, but it's a lot cheaper, and it's available. Now, I don't know anything other than the fact that it's working right now. Is it going to work in a week? Don't know. Is it going to work in 6 months? I don't know. And I cannot comment on that. Nobody knows. They're not out available right now. So, we got a comment from Dirk. Hi from Leipzig, Germany. Alex says, saw you on Periscope too. Alex Gollner, my friend, my Final Cut Pro friend from the UK. How you doing, Alex? I use Blackmagic Ultra Studio Mini Recorder to capture ProRes 422 1080p, but we're not talking about capture so much. Hi, Richard. So there's a lot of options that you can get. Okay, there's a lot of options you can get. You can get multiple ones. Been using the CamLink, like I said, 4K for a long time, but I'm not using it today to run a test. I am going to run a test show you a video of the CamLink 4K with this exact same setup, and you can compare it to what you're seeing right now, because what you're seeing right now is this one. It's the video capture, $43.88, and it's available, plus a 5% off coupon, and it's available. No, it's not 4K. This is not 4K. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. I'm talking about for live streaming now, right? I'm not talking about for other things. This is for live streaming is what I'm talking specifically about. All right? Let's watch this. So this is the Elgato CamLink 4K that I'm working with right now. I'm recording with that. Now, can you tell any difference between the quality of this video versus the quality of the less expensive $44 HDMI to USB capture card? That's the question. Can you tell any difference? Once again, this is the Elgato CamLink 4K that I'm using right now. I'm also taking the audio through the CamLink from the camera. So the audio is going from the camera through the CamLink into Ecam Live. Normally I don't do that. Normally I have a separate audio path and a separate audio interface. But for this test, I wanted to test and see if that is but for this test, I wanted to see if there's any difference in audio and video. So since I'm coming right So that was the Elgato CamLink 4K that I recorded earlier. It's this exact same setup. Microphone's exactly the same. Is there any difference between that video and what you're seeing in this live stream? That's the question. Because so far, I'm fairly impressed with this little capture card. I'm pretty impressed with it. It seems to be working very, very well. The Elgato CamLink 4K, one of the things that I have problems with is sometimes it's not recognized. I'm not sure if it's because it's older or something or the cables, but sometimes I have to plug this in and out multiple times. I have to turn my GH4 on and off multiple times. I have to start and restart Ecam Live multiple times to get this thing to be recognized. A lot of times it's not recognized in FaceTime. I can't get the same thing. I got to unplug it, plug it back in, unplug it, plug it back in. So Alex Gollner says, no difference, no difference. So that's incredible. It's available on Amazon right now, $44. Now, once again, I don't know if it's going to last, if it's going to burn out. I have no idea. This one, I can tell you, I've had it for like 18 months. I've been using it for like 18 months. This is the one I travel with when I go to different places. It's been very reliable, except for that intermittent connectivity issue, and I don't know what it is. So Robert says, what is your basic audio video for streaming? So my basic is I have a GH4 for my camera connected with a HDMI to USB device, and I have right here out of sight is a TLM. It's a Neumann TLM 103 microphone, and it's going through an Apollo Twin X audio interface, which is a high-end interface. And with Ecam Live, the thing you can do is, so the audio and video are coming in separate paths, so I have to delay my audio by 3 frames, plus or minus 4 frames. I've done tests for it before. That's what I did. That's what we're doing with Live. Now, when I play this video back, when I play you the videos, I wasn't coming through this interface. I was coming through the HDMI audio. And we're also going to test that here live with this inexpensive, it's called a Mavis Link audio video capture device. Let me pull it up here again. But I've seen other ones that look exactly the same under other brands. They're all about the same. They're all about the same price. You know, the Elgato costs, when I bought it, I got it on sale for $119, $115, something like that. I think it normally costs $129, but I've seen it for $300, $400 if you can find it. If you can find it. Now, the Elgato, there's 2 things about the Elgato that I like. Number one, it's 4K. Okay, and it's also USB 3 versus, you can see the blue port in there. I'm not sure if you can, but it's USB 3 versus the one I'm using right now, which is just USB 2. However, I do not stream in 4K. My GH4 is set to 1080p output, and I am streaming with Ecam Live to 1080p, not 4K. So those 2 things, it doesn't seem to make any difference. USB 2 and only 1080p, because that's what I use. So we have a couple questions. Scott Markowitz says, I see a slight difference. There is a hint of aliasing. Christopher says, I like the color. Does it get hot after long use? Let me find out. It's warm. It's warm to the touch, but it's not hot. So let's see what we got here. A couple more comments. On my end, the $42 unit has a tiny butt of noise and pick, but it's minimal. Okay, very little bit. And Scott says he has the same problem with his CamLink 4K. Need to unplug and plug it in a few times. So that's, I have only noticed that recently because I've been using it for live streaming and I have more options to try it out. So with Ecam Live, sometimes it comes on right away. Sometimes I have to plug it in, unplug it, plug it in diff USB port, plug it into a different USB-C port or Thunderbolt 3 port. I turn my GH4 on and off, and it'll connect. It always connects eventually, but there seems to be some kind of a connectivity issue some of the time. There's no driver needed. Christopher says, is the color 422 or 420? I don't know. I'm presuming it's 420. He says, but it's hard to find the Elgato. Best Buy usually has them in stock for shipping. So yeah, that's the problem. You can't find the Elgato. If you can find it, it's $300, $400, and it's way over. I'm not saying it's overpriced. It's way over what it normally costs. Elgato, I think they still charge $129. So how do connectors look quality on the $44 capture card? They look about the same as the Elgato. The Elgato is definitely a heavier. It's definitely a heavier device. It's a little bit heavier. The plastic seems thicker, and it's a bit heavier. I have one video that I'll play for you comparing the two devices. So we got one comment says, "What video switching are you using? Any comment on the A10 Mini?" So I am using the Stream Deck right here. I have the 15-button Stream Deck. I like this thing so much that I'm going to get the bigger version whenever I see it on sale. This is all I need right now, but I'm switching with that right there. This works really good with the Ecam Live, which is my main streaming software. So let's go to, let me pull up the video, another video real quick. Let me see here. Since I'm coming right through the HDMI, I don't have any delay on the microphone. The microphone is not delayed. The audio and video should be in sync. So what do you think? Now this is, once again, this is the, let me pull that up. This video you're watching right here is the CamLink 4K. Let me see what else I have here. I do have another file I want to play for you. Just one second. Let me see if I can find that. Just one second. All right, today we're going to be comparing capture cards, USB, HDMI to USB capture cards. The king, of course, is this CamLink. This is a 4K capture card. This is the one that I've been using for a couple of years without too much of an issue. Little connectivity issue sometimes. It's got HDMI on this side, USB 3 on this side. It says it does it up to 4K. I don't capture in 4K because I only stream in 1080p, so that's not a problem. And we're going to compare the quality of this one with the new kid on the block. This new kid on the block, HDMI video capture. It's very, very generic. I've seen it sold in multiple names. There's the HDMI port. Now this one is only USB 2.0. It's not USB 3. Keep that in mind. It doesn't seem to affect, well, we'll see during the actual testing. And I'm going to capture both video and we're going to check audio. So that was a little video I did ahead of time, and the reason I did that ahead of time was to compare the two side by side. I can't compare the cheap one because I'm using it right now. It's plugged into my Mac. I can't compare it. So we had some more comments. Somebody asked me about the A10 Mini. Where is that comment? Oh, here we go. Any comments on the A10 Mini? I love the A10 Mini Pro, the new one that they have. I might get one eventually, but I really don't need it, and I'll tell you why. Number one is I can switch with the setup I have right now. I have my GH4 up here. This camera is an iPhone, which is sitting above me that I have for overhead shots. A lot of times I will have an outdoor camera. I didn't set that up today. That's a third camera that I have. I can have another HDMI camera that I can switch all on my Stream Deck. So I don't really need the Atem Mini Pro, the new one that just came out. I really like it though. It uses all HDMI inputs for the cameras. My cameras, this one above, right here, this one is connected via Lightning port to my Mac, not via HDMI. I have another wireless. It's a Mevo Start. The Mevo Start is connected via NDI, a wireless, the same wireless network. I can use that one with this. So the Atem Mini Pro, I think, is a fantastic device, but I don't have all HDMI cameras. I have wireless cameras. I can use Lightning cameras. I also have a Sling Studio that I can use iPhone cameras wirelessly, or I can plug in HDMI cameras. So I really don't need the Atem Mini Pro, but I think it's a fantastic device. Christopher says, I use Blackmagic Mini Recorder for live streaming. It is Thunderbolt 2 to SDI and HDMI at $200, no sync issues. You shouldn't have a sync issue unless you separate the audio and video, which is what I'm doing right now. I have a separate audio path. As a matter of fact, yeah, I'm okay. I have a separate audio path and my video path, and they don't arrive at the same time, so you have to delay the audio. The audio arrives first. You have to delay it by 2 or 3 frames. In Ecam Live, you have up to 30 frames. You can delay it, so it works really well. Got a comment from my friend Torgrim Grimstad from Norway. How you doing, Torgrim? So we have a comment that says, hi guys, do you know any cheaper alternative to Blackmagic Atem Mini? I need to connect 3 video sources and seems Atem is the right choice. If they're HDMI, it absolutely is. Now the Mini is cheaper than the Mini Pro. Atem Mini Pro is like $600, $595. I think the Atem Mini is like $300 if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So if you don't need the features in the Pro version, just get the Mini and you got a pretty good deal. Ernest White says the CamLink is nowhere to be found. So try this one. Try this one that I'm trying. I mean, it's $44, right? It's $44, and it's available, and it's working. I don't know. I have a coupon here, $5, 5% off. I used that when I bought it. I'm not sure if it's available for everybody. That I don't know. Is it available in your? I'm not sure how they run those 5% off coupons. I don't know how that works. Turn this up a little bit. There we go. Check. So why not buy this for $44 until you can get if you like it, it's fine. If you don't, you can still go ahead and get the Elgato CamLink 4K. Listen, I like the Elgato CamLink 4K. It's been very stable for me. I've traveled with it. Everything about it I like. So I still recommend this, but if you can't get it, you can't get it, right? If you can't get it, just get one of this cheaper one. It's on Amazon right now. Video capture cards, HDMI to USB. I've seen it under the same one under a couple different names. They're all on the same price point. It works very well. It's working right now. That's what you're watching. That's what you're watching right now. Now, I'm not running the audio through it yet, but I'm going to be doing that in 1 minute. I have to connect a cable up or two, 1 or 2 cables up in order to do that. So let's do that now. Let me run the audio through the HDMI. Right now, I'm still coming through my audio interface. Let me run it through the HDMI. Let me do that now. Okay, Oh, a little too hot. Now this, as a matter of fact, I got to take the delay off. This is the audio coming directly through the HDMI port. It probably sounds a little bit different, but it should sound really good. I'm still using my Neumann TLM103 microphone right here. I just switched audio interfaces, and I switched them in Ecam Live. It's called USB digital audio. That's what it's called. It's a little bit hot still. Let me just turn that down a little bit. So this is the audio coming through the HDMI port with the video. I presume it sounds pretty good, right? So let me see what we got. Ernest says the CamLink is nowhere to be found. That's the problem with the CamLink. Robert says, thank you, Richard. You're welcome, Robert. I'm testing the software here in Brazil, but I'm still learning. My test is 14 days, and I still know little. Go to the forum. Go to the Facebook page. There's a lot of help and tutorials on there. Do you know how long of an HDMI run you can use with the Mavis link? Don't know. I don't have no idea. I'm plugged direct. Well, the Mavis is plugged right into my Mac Pro. I have a 2019 Mac Pro sitting over here. So the Mavis is plugged directly in there. The HDMI is running from my GH4. Mine is probably about 3, 4, or 5 feet, something like that. Maybe 3 feet, 4 feet. I don't know what the length of a HDMI cable, if you start to lose connectivity or whatever. I don't know how that works. So Torgrim says, doing good. Live streamed your funeral today with a cheap sound mixer and an old Canon with SDI direct out of the church through Live View. Worked great. Viewers from all over the world. Sounds a little overmodulated. Let me fix that. That's probably just my. Let me see. That's probably my interface that's causing that. If it's overmodulated, I believe. So this is all, I'm just doing this all live switching everything. See if it sounds better now. Because the GH4, I have a audio interface going into the mic preamp slot. Of course, you can plug a mic in there directly, but yeah, I have the phantom power. I wanted to make sure I got the phantom power on. So let's see. Sounds good. So yeah, when I did test earlier, it sounded fine. I'm not running through my audio interface. Sounds great. Slightly out of sync. Is that right? It shouldn't be out of sync since it's coming over HDMI with the video signal, but it certainly can be. So in Ecam Live, which is my software that I use, you can delay the audio, but if the video is coming in first, you can't delay the video, at least not yet. I'd like to see that as a feature. That would be fantastic. So there now seems to be an AV sync issue using the Mavis. It might just be a streaming issue. I don't know. I am recording this as well, and I can check it there. I can try. Let me try some. Let me try some AV sync. I'll put 3 back in. See if that works. So now I delayed the mic or the audio by 3 frames. See if that works better for you. Once again, this Mavis, the Mavis is a generic link. I've seen the same capture card other places with different names, same price point. I don't know how long it's going to last, if it's going to burn out, have no idea. Is the audio sync any better? If it is, it's okay. If it's not, I'll take that mic delay off. Let's see what else we have here. Well, this is basically it. So I'm using the Neumann mic coming through the HDMI port. The audio is coming through, the video is coming through. I think the quality is fantastic. I mean, for that price point, fantastic. It's 1080p. I think the quality is comparable to the CamLink. But if I was getting, well, I have the CamLink. I've had it for like a while. If I was going to recommend one, is it better? The audio sync is better. So I don't know why, but it should be the same, but apparently it's not. Okay, that's good to know. So what I did was I put a 3-frame delay on the audio. So you guys say it's better? That's fine. I did not test the AV sync, to be honest with you, with the Mavis. Nowhere on the USB card does it say Mavis. All it says is exactly what you see here. All it says is HDMI video capture. Mavis is here, but nowhere does it say on the card itself does it say Mavis, just in the ad. And I've seen this same capture card multiple places on Amazon, but it's available. That's the main thing, it's available. All right, I'm going to go back to my regular audio. I've gone back to my regular audio. I've gone back to my regular audio because I like it better. I have more control over it, and I'm just more familiar with it than just going in live. But I wanted to show you the live. So how are you delaying audio? I'm delaying audio in the program that I'm streaming with, Ecam Live. It has a mic delay setting. Let me pull that up for you. Let me pull that up. I have 2 options. Okay, live demo mode. So if you look here, this is the Ecam Live interface. I have all these panels and effects and things. And so in the Ecam Live preferences, it has mic delay right here. 4 or 3. I think my normal setup is 4 or 3. You also have it up here on the main screen. You can go up to 30 frames. Or turn it off. So that's how you do the mic delay. Let me go off there. There we go. Just checking one more thing. There we go. Didn't want to do that. One thing I always check while I'm live is make sure that Final Cut Pro has not been updated. It is not. Did I lose my... Huh. Oh, there it is. There we go. So here, let me just check this. If someone wants the same setup you have, what would be the estimated cost of all the devices? Because it sounds and looks great. So there's multiple cameras. The first thing is Ecam Live, okay? They're not paying me, but I recommend them. It's a great streaming platform. Has a lot of options. I can put in, if you saw these earlier, I put in these scrolling texts, one on top, one on the bottom. This is all on Ecam Live. You can do titles. Here's one. This is all done in Ecam Live. You can do titles and stuff. So that's one of the services that I use. I'm using a GH4. I also have a GH5 that I use sometimes. I have a Neumann TLM 103 microphone, but it's for my recording studio. A lot of this stuff's my recording studio. You can do, there's several cameras that you can get that you can do this high quality streaming in. This is a GH4 that I've had for 4 years, 5 years. That's why I'm using it. If I was buying one today, I would check out different reports on Facebook or go to the streaming sites, go to Ecam Live. There's lots of stuff there. Estimated cost, I'm going to give you a bottom end cost because you don't need all the stuff that I have. This microphone is $1,200, but I don't have it for streaming. I have it for my recording studio. So I don't know if I would spend this much on a microphone just for streaming, but I already have it, so why shouldn't I use it? I have about 30 or 40 microphones. I use this one, TLM 103. It's one of my favorite ones. It's a Neumann, but I wouldn't recommend everybody getting one. It's too expensive and you really don't need it. There's plenty of good microphones out there. I'm not a fan of USB microphones for the most part. I like a regular microphone through an audio interface. That's my preference. Doesn't mean you need it. I mean, this one, let me pull this one up. This one is fantastic for a lot. I bought a second set of these, the Rode Wireless Go, because I like the first set so much. I bought a black one, then I bought a white one. So you could get by with this for sure. You can get by with a lapel microphone plugged into your shirt as well. But you want a camera of some sort that's good for streaming, that works, that has a clean HDMI output. In Ecam now, some of the Canons, I think you can use USB without the CamLink, but it doesn't carry audio. So that's another consideration. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. This is the setup that I've developed. I've been live streaming for 3 years, but I started with iPhones and started streaming the Facebook with just iPhones. So do you have any more questions? Any more questions for this setup? I think it's been successful. This little HDMI to USB 2 has been very successful. We've been streaming for 45 minutes. That's what I've been using here. I think we're good. What do you guys think? Guys and gals? Torgrim says, we struggle with live streaming with wireless modem. That's a problem. When I go out live, sometimes I have to rely on my cell phone. And that's it's very, hit or miss. It depends on what the cell connection is, how fast it is. But so we have a comment here. Sorry, only just joining. Did you say what lens you use? I'm using the Sigma 18-35 f1.2 art lens on the GH4. So it's my favorite lens by far. I'm not a photographer, though. People that are in photography know a lot more about lenses than I do. I just do video. So that's my favorite lens for the GH4 and the GH5. Has a little bit of optical zoom. It has an adapter. The adapter that gives you the additional step of light. It lowers your f-stop. I forget what they call. Very nice. I just ordered the Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4. do you have a detailed list diagram documented for your complete streaming setup? I don't have one. I can do one if you're interested, but one of the things that I do is I'm always experimenting. The camera's been pretty steady, although I will swap it out for the GH5 occasionally. The camera's been pretty steady. The lens has been pretty steady. The microphone has been pretty steady. But I got a Metabones, that's what it is, the Metabones Speed Booster, including software. So that, yeah, I use the Metabones with the Sigma 18 to 35 f1. I think it's an f1.8, and the Speed Booster brings it down to 1.2, something like that. I forget exactly. But the setup I have is overly complicated for most people, especially the audio. It's because I have this equipment for my recording studio that I'm using it. For example, the Apollo Twin. This is the Apollo Twin. You don't need this for live streaming. I have it for my recording studio because I record vocals and guitars and stuff, and I use it for that, so I have it. I would not, I mean, if you have the money, that's fine. This interface is about $1,200, and it runs with the plugins and things. It has software plugins that run in real time, just like their hardware. So, but I wouldn't recommend this if I was setting somebody up. I would use probably this interface right here, the USB interface. So I'm running the Apollo Twin X analog out into this USB interface. And I do that for a couple of reasons. But one of the main reasons is I have a dial here. When I'm talking to somebody, I can dial in how much of them I hear versus how much of me I hear. And I really, really like that. I've tried using the Apollo Twin X directly via Thunderbolt 3, and it doesn't work with live streaming very well. It has a flanging kind of effect where two different channels of audio are going in through the Thunderbolt. So I wouldn't recommend that interface for live streaming. But like I said, I have it for my recording studio. It's the best interface that I've had. It's the best interface I've ever used. So why not use it for live streaming? So we got a couple more comments. Live streaming with Sony A7R3. It is a problem that the audio tracks are separated. Okay, that's a problem for sure. I noticed you're using the Stream Deck. I'm thinking of getting one of those, as I imagine it makes switching even easier. As long as the software you're switching in works, this has it should in most cases. It absolutely, I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, this is the 15 version, 5 times 3. I'm getting the bigger version going forward because I find it so useful. I don't even use all these 15 right now. I have about the top row I have. Here's the interface you saw before I came on the air. Here's the overhead camera I have right there. It's actually a Sony. It's actually an iPhone 6S Plus. Here's my live camera. It's very easy to switch back and forth. You can set up scenes in Ecam Live. Ecam Live is what I use, and I definitely recommend those guys and gals. They have a couple of brothers that run that software company, and I've been very impressed with them and their responsiveness to the community. They do live streams themselves all the time. But I recommend the Stream Deck, absolutely. Do I have a website? Yeah, I do, but you go to Richard Taylor TV. I have multiple websites. So I'm a big Final Cut Pro person. I'm a trainer in Final Cut Pro, fcpradio.com, fcpx.tv. You can go to those two. But if you want to contact me, just go to youtube.com/Richard Taylor TV. All of my social media is Richard Taylor TV. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Periscope TV. They're all Richard Taylor TV. Now, here's the thing. Facebook, please don't come there and ask for a friend request. Everything else is based on video production, live streaming, audio. My Facebook account is really for my personal friends and a few of my friends in video production, but I don't accept a lot of friends requests from my Facebook page. However, you certainly can follow me there. You see, there's a way to follow, so that works completely fine. So in Final Cut Pro, you can do this, make these little graphics like this one. Motion graphics. And then bring them into Ecam as an overlay. So, hi, I'm in Haiti. Can I buy one, please? I don't know if you can or not. So Torgrim says, I got the preacher on the left and the church organ to the right from his Sony camera. I think I'm in mono, right? I am in mono. And when I stream live on my phone, I did a stream last night for the local graduation ceremony. It's got like 8,000 views in 24 hours. And I had two cameras. I had a lapel. I had the Rode Wireless Go on for me, and then I had a medium shotgun on in the front. But I switched it to mono. I have trouble with stereo sometimes. What is that USB box? That is a Scarlett USB something 4. Has 2 channels of audio. Alan Williams says, I'll be using Ecam Live. One more question. Is that green screen you're using, or are you in a public house? That is a green screen I'm using that works with Ecam Live. This backdrop is courtesy of BBC. They released a bunch of backdrops that the public can use. I also have a set design, if I don't use this, a couple of different physical backdrops that I use sometimes, but I find this pretty efficient the way it is right now. So I think one of the other things, I forgot to mention this. Alan says it looks great. Thank you, Alan. One of the other things that I'm doing is I'm going through Restream.io. And I'm streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope Live all at the same time. One of the features from using Restream.io, if you're on the YouTube channel, it brings in all the Facebook comments to YouTube, which I find really cool. I really like that. That's something they just started. It says Restream Bot, and it says Facebook and different comments. So that brings it into YouTube. Any questions before I sign off here? Let me just check. We'll go over here to the App Store. Final Cut Pro is still at 10.4.8. We are waiting for it to be updated to 10.5. I just updated Pixelmator Pro, and Simon says transcripts, but at some point we're going to see Final Cut Pro 10.5. That's what a lot of my audience is waiting for. You have the lighting temperature spot on for the backdrop. I have a few lights to light up that green screen properly. One of the other things in Ecam Live is you can blur your background. So I have a slight blur on it, if you've noticed. But I like this one. I don't even drink, but it's like a bar in London somewhere. So one of the things that I do, I have been live streaming for over 3 years. So over the last 3 years, I've learned quite a bit. Started my first live stream was with an iPhone to Facebook Live. At that point, the Facebook Live video was a square. It wasn't even 16:9. And then I bought the equipment, and I tried this equipment, and I tried that equipment, and I tried this microphone live and this microphone live. So I've been doing it for about over 3 years, so I have some experience, but it's a lot of experimentation. I've been waiting for 10.5 for ages. I know you know the guys. Can't you just have a chat with them, please? I can have a chat with them, and it's not going to help. They'll release Final Cut Pro 10.5 when it's ready. That's for sure. So Jeff says, do you think Final Cut Pro is integrating Frame.io into a more of the timeline, and that's what's taking so long? No, I don't think so. I think that would be Frame.io's issue, not Final Cut's issue. Here's my guess. NAB was canceled. We don't know if we were going to see a version of Final Cut Pro to NAB because it was canceled. They could have been preparing Final Cut Pro 10.4.9 or 10.5. They could have previewed 10.5. But I think they're just, since they have this situation where people work from home, it's slowed them down a little bit. But I think they're getting ready for a big release in 10.5. WWDC is 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks and a few days. Final Cut Pro 10.5, Final Cut Pro's birthday, 9th birthday, is coming up on June the 21st. Those are two good times they might release something, but they can release it at any time. I never expect them to release it on a Friday. I don't think they release it on Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the biggest days for release. Logic Pro was released, right, on a Monday or Tuesday about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it went up to 10.5. So we'll have to see. Do I want to see it? Of course I want to see it, but I also want it to be ready, right? We don't want it to be released ahead of time, not ready. So thanks everybody for tuning in. So we have a question from Graham. Is Ecam Live scene-based like OBS, or is it more flexible, please? Ecam is scene-based. It's scene-based. You can pull up different scenes, and then you can program them into here. I have these scenes plugged into here. These are scenes with different cameras, different audio sources, and you just hit the button and you can go from one scene to the next. Like I said, for this one, for example, this was my opening screen with a timer on it. I set that up as one scene. I have this as one scene, my overhead camera. This is I have an iPhone there, plugged directly in, and Ecam Live recognizes it. And this is my main camera, my GH4. So I hope that answers your question. And the thing about Ecam Live is it's two brothers, and they are very responsive, and they talk with the community. They do their own live streaming. So it's a very, very good company. I really, really like them. So we have a comment from Robert says, did you say you can bring YouTube comments and Facebook comments into one location? This is Restream.io. Restream.io is bringing my Facebook comments into YouTube. So it's one location. The one location is YouTube. It brings Periscope comments, Facebook comments, and of course the YouTube comments are already there into YouTube. So yes, they're all in one location. They're all on YouTube. Torgrim says, thanks, so great for the Final Cut Pro community. You're really keeping us going. Absolutely, that's no problem. What is the little switch box? Dennis says, that's Stream Deck. It's a USB device. I have the 15 version. I got it on sale last Christmas, and I'm going to get the bigger version whenever it goes on sale. So I like this a lot. This is very handy. I think you can use it with Final Cut Pro and a bunch of other things. I just use it for Ecam Live. It's very, very handy. I can mute my microphone. I can finish this button here. I quit. I can pause. I can do all kind of things. Do a picture-in-picture. This button here shows me how many people are viewing live. Right now it's 26. So it's a very, very handy device. I really like it. It's not that hard to set up. Michael Wright says, thank you, Richard. Great stuff as usual. Thank you for tuning in. Absolutely. I appreciate it. So, how do you bring your Facebook comments on screen, Graham says. That is from Ecam Live. That's Ecam Live. That's how I bring them on screen. And I can choose which ones I bring on and which ones I don't. If there's comments that sometimes it gets to be too many to bring on. When I'm by myself like this, so you guys watch other live streams. I've seen live streams with 16 people on screen or 20 or 24 people. That's too many for me. When I have a guest, 2 guests, 3 guests, 4 guests, that's plenty. But if you've noticed for the last, let me see how long it's been, an hour and 3 minutes, I've been on here by myself. So I've occupied your attention for over an hour just by myself. When I'm on by myself, I bring up more comments. If I have 2 people, 3 people, 4 people on screen, I'm interviewing them, I can't bring as many comments on because everybody's talking. If I had 16 people or 20 people or whatever people, that's too many for me. That's not something that I enjoy. I enjoy myself talking to you guys and gals, or 2 people, 3 people. I've had one of our listeners today is Alex Gollner. It's a friend of mine from the UK. I've met him multiple times. He's a Final Cut Pro guy. He does plugins for Final Cut Pro. I have him on here all the time. We have great conversations. So if I have 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, the more people I have on, the less I can put the comments on. When I'm talking by myself, I put most of them on. So this is pretty successful, don't you think? This little device, this $44 device, I was dubious, but to be honest with you, but it turns out it's pretty darn good. Don't you think? Let me see if I can. Primary display. There we go. So this is the comments coming over here. You can see them on the upper left. And there is current application. The device. It's once again, it's available. That's one of the things. We got a comment. I'm interested in the share between the NLEs. Do you know? I'm not sure what you mean, Torgrim. Do you mean sharing with XML files, or what exactly do you mean there? So, any other questions? Let me see if I have any other notes. I think that's about all I have. Let me see what's going on Twitter. We had Gary. Gary Adcock, we had him on last week. Michael Comas says a comment. Oh, Michael Comas. So I had a question on Twitter that said, announcing this live stream, I says, can a $44 HDMI to USB capture card be used for quality live streaming? And he says, yes, I do it all the time. Well, I think we've proved today that it can, that this $44 capture card can do a very quality job. So he says no, Torgrim says no uses. How many users Final Cut Pro compared to the others? I think Final Cut Pro leads the others by usage by far. We've had an announcement from Apple that said 2.5 million Final Cut Pro users 2 years ago. 2.5 million 2 years ago. It's probably between 3 and 4 million at this point. when you talk about somebody like Adobe, Adobe does not separate who uses Premiere versus who uses Photoshop versus who uses After Effects. I think Photoshop and After Effects are much bigger in the Premiere world. They don't break those numbers down. They don't say X amount of people are using Premiere, X amount are using Photoshop. They just give you overall numbers for everything, the whole kit and caboodle. And Avid is way, way down from that. Avid might be 100,000 people or so. So Final Cut Pro and then iMovie on top of that is way, way up in the numbers. You mentioned you need clean HDMI out from camera. Does that apply to a GoPro 5 camera? Yes. You have to check your HDMI out in order to use one of these cards. If it has overlays, that's what you're going to see. The GH4 or GH5 both have clean HDMI out. It's just a setting you set to do clean HDMI. Now, so I'm using the HDMI capture card, like I said. There are drivers, and Ecam Live, you can use USB on some cameras. I tried it on the GH4. I wasn't satisfied. It was lower quality, and it was stuttery and stuff. But you definitely need a clean HDMI feed, which is what I have here right now. Michael Wright says prices dropping in GoPro 4.5 cam seems like a good cam to stream 1080p. It's good. Yeah, I have a 5, I think. I use it for just when I'm outside doing stuff, point of view kind of stuff. I use it for that. But obviously the GH4 or DSLR or mirrorless camera is going to give you better quality. It starts with the camera and the lens, lighting, your knowledge. People always talk about the gear, but they forget about experience and knowledge on how to use the gear. That's equally important. Lighting, good audio. Michael Wright says, you have sold me on tour setup with Ecam Live. Great company. They're very responsive. There's, I think, a 14-day trial, Michael. So you can go over there and try it out for 14 days, see if you like it. And see if it suits your needs. I think it probably will. And go from there. They have 2 different tiers, a regular tier and then the pro tier. I don't need the pro tier. As a matter of fact, I'm lucky. I bought the application before it went subscription. So I have a perpetual license for the Ecam Live software. But I would use it anyway if I didn't have the license for it. Just tuning in, what is the brand of the USB 4 capture card you are using? Let me pull it up for you. It's this one. Mavis Link audio capture. It's $44, and I have a 5% coupon on there, but there's several that look exactly like this. So I suspect that they're all exactly the same. But for $40, listen, I don't even need a capture card. I don't even need a capture card. I have the CamLink 4K, and I have what other one do I have? I have another one. Let me see. Oh, I have this one. Let me pull this one up. I have this one, the Pen Go. I bought this a long time ago. This is also 4K 60 pass-through. It says YUV444 and includes USB 3.0 cable. I'm not sure what software upgrade. I haven't checked to see if I have a software upgrade. I have this one as well. It works fine for video. However, when I compared it, the audio coming out of the HDMI, it seemed to have a very steep bass roll-off in the audio. It was driving me nuts at first. I couldn't figure out I couldn't get better audio out of it. And then I switched to the 4K one day. Oh, it was all there. The audio with the bass was back. So the Pengo, the quality is fine, completely fine. It does have a pass-through. It has a pass-through, but you see, the problem is you can't get it. Currently unavailable. So it has this. Let me see if it has picture of the back. Doesn't have a picture of the back. But there you go, right there. So it has USB 3. It has input and loop out. So if you had to loop out, this is the one to get. The other one you can't. But once again, unless they've changed something. Now it says software upgrade. I'll have to see if I need an upgrade. Maybe it'll change the audio. So I didn't need to buy this $44 device. I have 2 other streaming devices that work completely fine. Completely fine. So Robert says your expertise in live streaming is very timely. Thank you very much. That's true. I've been live streaming for over 3 years, so I have a lot of experience with it. Here's the other thing. Being comfortable on camera is another thing. And my background is I'm a rock musician. I've been playing in rock bands before live audiences for 20 years. I don't play presently, but I have lots of experience talking to people live, performing live, so I'm not the least bit shy about it. So that's one of the things you kind of got to get used to. If you're going to do a live stream for your very first time, I recommend practicing before you go live first. Invite a few friends into a private link and just practice it. Go live and practice to get comfortable. There's so many settings in my setup. Audio settings, the Stream Deck, the camera, Ecam Live, Restream IO, YouTube, Facebook. Sometimes I forget things. Excellent information. Michael says, Let me get something real quick. We had a question there that came up, and instead of answering the question, I'll show you the answer. So I got a question from Jeff that said, what instrument? This is my instrument, electric guitar. I absolutely love the electric guitar. This is not my main instrument. My main instrument is a Strat. A little bit out of tune. This is actually a The Paul. It's not even a Les Paul. It's called a The Paul, Firebrand Les Paul. So I love electric guitar. I've been playing it since I've been a little kid. But that's my instrument. When I was a little kid, my brother, older brother, he's 5 years older than me, he brought home an electric guitar and amplifier, and I've been fascinated with them ever since. I have an acoustic as well, but the electric guitar is what I have. So we have another comment. Cheers for the advice. Have you ever experienced GoPros dropping to very low frame rates after a couple of hours live? I DJ and had this problem. I wouldn't doubt that happens. Maybe it's a heat issue. I don't know for a fact. Jeff says, nice for the guitar. Do you notice a quality difference video only in one cheap HDMI capture device compared to the higher end units, CamLink, etc.? Can you tell? I'm using the cheap one right now, but using it for an hour and 16 minutes. I really, in 1080p, which is what I stream in and what this is, I really can't tell the difference. I'm surprised that I can't. You guys would have to tell me on the live stream what's going on, but I really can't tell the difference. I'm using the cheap one. My CamLink's right here. I'm not going to sell the CamLink. I'm going to keep the CamLink because this has been my buddy for years and years and years, and it is USB 3, and it does do 4K if we ever get to the point where we're streaming in 4K. This, of course, is the Rode Wireless Go, which I also recommend. It's a very handy microphone. I use it live all the time. I don't use it in the studio. I don't use it for streaming. Just if I'm portable, I'll use it there. One of the things that I like about my interface, this one right here, is I have a mute button. You can't hear it, but you can see it turn red. Having a physical mute button is something I've always wanted. I've had software ones where you can click on them, but I always like the physical one. It's a cough button, a mute button. Perhaps you can live stream a music performance sometime. I have done that. I have a couple of different clips. Let me see if I can find a quick one for you. Maybe I can. Just a short one. I have a couple of different ones. Let me see what I can find here. I have no idea where that is, to be honest with you. I'll look for it while we're talking, but I have a couple of clips. Oh, I know where it is. So we have this comment. Do you absolutely need software like Ecam Live to use one of these HDMI to USB devices for Zoom meetings? No, you do not. Not for Zoom. No, absolutely not. I don't know if I presume it works in Zoom. It seems like it should. It's just what it does, it makes your DSLR or in my case, it's mirrorless. I have a mirrorless, G4 is a mirrorless camera. It converts it into a webcam, so you do not need Ecam Live for that. Ecam Live is for what I'm doing right now. I can add titles, I can do overlays, I can do scenes. Just for basic, like for FaceTime, if you're doing FaceTime, no, absolutely do not. This is for live streaming. That's what it's for. Let me see if I can pull up just quickly. Well, yeah, I can do that. I'll do over here. I'll pull up just a quick video for you, since that came up. Videos. I'll pull one up for you. But anyway, yeah, I love electric guitar. I always have. I have for quite a while. Let me see what I can pull up here. I have a couple of them online. I stream a lot. The last 2 weeks, between local streams, I do a lot of local streams. Between local streams and other streams, I'm doing a documentary. I did a stream. I have 20,000 views, something like that. All right, let me pull this up. Downloads. Here we go. All right, here's let me put this in this thing here. All right. right, it's a little taste. That's my guitar style. So that's my Strat too. That's a 69 Strat that I've customized a bit. So he says, we have a couple more comments. J. Scott Watson, friend of mine, says, thanks, Richard. Very interested in this topic. Thank you very much. It's become such a hot button issue, people working from home. Ryan Fitzsimmons, I noticed the interface. Do you use Universal Audio's new Luna DAW? I do. I have downloaded it, but I haven't used it yet. I'm a big Logic person, so I use Logic quite a bit. And they have put out a ton of videos for Luna, a ton of videos telling you how to use it. I haven't got a chance to use it yet. However, I am recording some new material. Some new songs. I record original material. I write it myself and I record it. It's blues based, it's country based, it's rockabilly, it's roots rock, and I'm probably going to be recording on tape, on reel-to-reel tape, multi-track tape. I still have my tape decks in my studio. I haven't used them for a couple years. If they fire up okay and I have good tape, I'm actually going to start the process of streaming some of those recording sessions as I go forward. I won't do 100% on tape, but I'll record on tape and I'll probably transfer it digitally to Logic or Luna or whatever else. I have Digital Performer as well. So we got a comment that says, I like the ATEM Mini Pro. It looks like a fantastic, fantastic device. The reason I don't use that, I may get one at some point, but the reason I don't have one is because I only have one USB camera, which is the GH4. This camera is an iPhone connected via Lightning, and I have another wireless camera that I use when I point outside a lot of times to the backyard. I didn't set it up today, but that's wireless via the network via NDI, which is the Mevo Start camera. It's made for streaming specifically. If I had a lot of HDMI cameras, I would already have the Pro, but I don't need it right now. So we said, how do you do split window showing music lyrics one side on one window and the band on the other? So I have a setup. Let me see. I can't. Let me do that now. So here's one of the things in Ecam Live you can do. You can have a split screen like this. And I guess you can put lyrics on one side and you could be on the other, I presume, right? There you go. Or side by side. This is what I do when I have guests all the time. This is my hand. So, J. Scott Watson says, love live the Mesa Boogie. Then he says, love it too. Yeah, I love that. It's a Mark III. It's a Mesa Boogie Mark III. It's an older one. I've had it forever. And I really, really like it as well. Jeff says I have to jump him up a drum set next time. Absolutely. So I'm pretty with my guitar setup. I'm the kind of guy that wants to plug in a guitar to an amplifier directly. I don't want a bunch. I don't use like a ton of pedals and stuff. I just like, if I can't get the sound I want with the guitar and the amp, something's wrong. I like plugging into an amp and just getting a great sound. So that's what I do. What product is the HDMI to USB device? Let me pull that up for you. I've had it up a few times. Here it is. Let me just turn that off. It's this one. HDMI video capture, $44 on Amazon. I'm probably selling a few of those today. If you see this device on Amazon, it comes under different names. This one has 37, 3.5, 4.5 star, 37 rating, 22-inch questions. It's $44. It's not that expensive. So I figured I don't even need it. I don't need the device. I have 2 other USB to HDMI. I figured I'd get it and test it out so everybody can get an idea of whether it works properly or not. Yes, thanks, great and nice. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming out here. This is turned out to be more popular than I thought. Usually I talk about Final Cut Pro quite a bit because I'm a Apple certified trainer, but this one's turned out quite good. So we got a comment says, do you use Facebook, PSTV, YouTube simultaneously? Is it to collect viewers? I use them simultaneously because of the Stuart Moore asked that. I use them simultaneously because I get a bigger audience, but I do that via Restream.io. They do that for me. They broadcast out to all 3 at one time. That's one of the advantages. Jorgen says, great audio and streaming stuff, Richard, and still no word on Final Cut Pro 10.5, even after latest macOS and iOS updates. That's correct. I'll check and see if we have any update while I'm talking to you, but I doubt it. No updates. Still on 10.4.8. Nothing updated yet. Here's the thing about the OS, the Mac OS. Everybody is talking about Final Cut Pro 10.5, working on the next version of the Mac OS coming out. The next version of Mac OS won't be out. The full version, 10.16. We're on 10.15 now. It won't be out till September, October, November next year. I think we're going to see 10.5 a lot longer because 10.4 is 30 months old at this point. It's tied the longest streak between full number updates of any version of Final Cut Pro. Normal update cycle is 16 months between like 10.2 to 10.3, 10.1 to 10.2, 10.3 to 10.4. Average is 16 months. 10.4 is 30 months old. Something big is going on. I think one of the things we're going to see is an audio mixer for sure. Audio has to be part of that, right? Has to be. So we have a question, does it work with OBS? I presume it would be. It converts your camera to a webcam. So John Hooper says you're using the Mavis link just for the video, correct? The audio is a separate issue. You can earlier in the broadcast, if you want to rewatch it, I did audio through the Mavis link through the HDMI. Right now I'm not. Right now I'm doing audio through the separate. It's a separate track, separate audio devices. But I did about 5 or 10 minutes with the audio going through the Mavis link HDMI, and it worked fine. You have to adjust the audio sync, perhaps. I had a sync issue, they said, so I delayed the audio by a couple of frames, and it seemed to work. But no, it works with audio too. You can use it through HDMI. I like more control over my audio, and I like tube emulations and things, and so I use this one. This is the Apollo Twin X. I think it's about $1,250, something like that. But then the plugins you buy with this are additional money. It comes with a suite of plugins, which are really good. A lot of analog classic plugins, but I like the control I have with my audio separate from the video, but I certainly can use it. When I go out live and stream with the iPhone, I use the audio built in. Friday nights Great for fighting, not for releasing 10.5. Yeah, I doubt if it's Fridays. I doubt if we'll see it on a Friday. I don't think very many Final Cut Pro or Apple updates are on a Friday period. Yes, audio mixer, please, for Final Cut Pro 10. I think we'll see an audio mixer. I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff. There's a reason why it's taken so long. 30 months. It's nothing to do with the coronavirus, and I'll tell you why. It was already at 27 months before the coronavirus made everybody work from home, which is way, way longer than usual. And the only explanation is something big is happening with Final Cut Pro. 10.5, I think, is going to be a giant, giant leap forward and a whole bunch of new features and stability. We always want stability and speed. We don't want to sacrifice that. So I think audio is going to be improved. I think we're going to see an audio mixer. All right. Who's up for lunch? It's 1:41 here. I started streaming at a little after 12 o'clock, an hour and a half ago. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's the reason I do these live streams is for you guys and gals. That's what I do it for. I don't do it for myself. I mean, I know these things already. I do it for everybody else. I appreciate it. I hope for a coffee plug-in. Absolutely. That would be great. File, make coffee or make cappuccino or make espresso. That would be fantastic. One of the best things for Final Cut. So I hope you got some information today. The inexpensive, I've been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes with the inexpensive one. This is the CamLink 4K. I certainly can recommend this, other than the connectivity issues I have sometimes. I got to jiggle the handle with this, connecting it in and out, unplug the cable sometimes. And I also have problems with this one getting recognized in FaceTime. It's very problematic to get that CamLink recognized in FaceTime. This inexpensive one that I got instantly recognized in FaceTime. So this does do 4K. This does do 4K. The other one is 1080p, but that's all I stream in is 1080p, so I really don't, that doesn't really bother me. It looks good, right? It looks good. So it's $44. Now, if it burns out in a month, I'm not going to be very happy, but I figured I'd try it for $44. It's no big deal. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. I think I'm going to go get something to eat for lunch. And once again, you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe there. YouTube.com, Richard Taylor TV. Facebook.com, Richard Taylor TV. If you're Final Cut Pro people, you can go to fcpx.tv, all things Final Cut Pro, or I have a podcast, fcpradio.com. We talk about post-production on there a lot, but mostly it's about Final Cut Pro, as you might expect. So I'll put the link up one more time. One more time, here's the link. This is on Amazon. It's called the Mavis Audio Capture Device. $43, and it's in stock right now. Well, it comes in a couple of weeks, couple of days, whatever. It's working. Like I said, I don't know if it's working in a month from now or 2 weeks from now or 5 months from now. The CamLink certainly has been working for 18 months for me, so I trust this one. And I have another one. The other one I have is the Pengo 4K, which is fine. It's worked fine. I had a problem with the audio. This one has 4K 60, and it has pass-through. So it actually has, you can actually, where is that? Well, there it is there. It actually has HDMI in and HDMI out. So if you need that feature, and it also has audio in and out. Separate audio in and out, which the CamLink 4K does not have. So, but I had a problem with the audio on that one because the audio, it had a very steep roll-off in the bass, and I really didn't like that. I want it to do exactly the obvious, exactly the audio I give it. Here's the link, Amazon.com, Mavis link, camcorder definition, acquisition, broadcast. There's the link. Thank you, John Hooper. All right, everybody, I'm going to head out and get some lunch for today. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Once again, go over there to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to facebook.com, Richard Taylor TV if you want. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. J. Scott Watson says, I didn't buy until the pandemic, so I'm stuck with 1080p, 4K HUD are fine. I'm using IO gear, but bought a Mavis Link 2. Thanks for your advice. John Hooper says, thanks, Richard. Thank you. Purchased. I don't get any kickback from that. I've just wanted people to know that it was available, and since they can't get the other one, this one works fine. Now, I'm working on I have a 2019 Mac Pro, so I'm pretty lucky. It's not for streaming. I've got this for video production and for my recording studio. So I don't have any issues. Some of the laptops kick in their fans and stuff when you stream for a while. That's what I've heard, the MacBook Pros. But anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by, and I will see you on the next live stream. If you subscribe over at YouTube, or if you follow me on Facebook or on Periscope TV, I have an Instagram account that I never post there yet. I don't know what to use it for, but follow me in those places. Once again, don't ask for a friend request on Facebook. Just follow. That'd be much better. Right? Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. My name's Richard Taylor. I'll talk to you later.